And so I think that novelty combined with that availability, it makes it so that, when you think about courting a woman, juice isn't worth the squeeze because it does not compare to the intensity, the novelty, and the availability of porn. It's hyper stimulation.
The juice isn't worth the squeeze. That's what Nick Fuentes says. We started this conversation on air. We're going to talk about some things that we didn't think would be allowed on air. So we're taking it to our online only format, or what we call our overtime edition. So here's Nick Fuentes. If you don't know, Nick Fuentes was interviewed by Tucker Carlson just this last week. We have 2 videos online other than this one. The links are in the description below. The first is a conversation on Israel and AIPAC and Zionism. The second video is on pornography with youth, as well as marijuana and abortion. And then this is our conversation that we didn't think that we could air on radio. And so, Aaron, what's your take on this? He's saying that pornography has made it to where many men are having issues because the intensity of pornography changes the expectations of how they view a healthy relationship.
Yeah, well, sex was divorced from love. Sex has been divorced from commitment. Sex has been divorced from marriage. So what you're left with is just this visceral, selfish, fleshly desire that just has no bounds and has no ends, and the ante's always increased as soon as you become numbed and you plateau at a certain level. So yes, he's absolutely correct. Pornography is evil. I want to share some statistics because Nick Fuentes is Generation Z, and he's speaking on behalf of his generation. And this generation needs to be saved from an existential crisis. Shockingly early exposure. Statistics are showing that the first exposure to online pornography is now between 11 and 12 years old. We also are dealing with widespread consumption. Studies indicate that a significant majority of Gen Z males, estimates often range from 70% to over 90%, have consumed pornography, while many reporting usage on a weekly basis. And then if you look at the addiction rates, the Addictive Behaviors Report suggests that Gen Z shows some of the highest rates of self-reported addiction or compulsive use, where figures are ranging from 10 to 15% of users are using this compulsively and on a regular basis. 10 to 15% of a generation is a dangerous place to be, because what it's doing is it's destroying natural relationships. So they're not able to connect with women in the real life. They're not able to court a woman, because the old art of courting was for a woman to basically not give away what the man wants until he steps up and makes a commitment to her, because that is because a woman, I think physiologically, biologically, is designed to trust the man that they have babies with, because God gave them those instincts that they need to protect their babies. So when you desensitize young men to sex and you degrade women to just sexual objects, they're no longer worthy of courting. They're no longer worthy of pursuit. They're just an object to satisfy their lower urges. And so we've completely, pornography, maybe not single-handedly, but has at least in a serious way destroyed the patriarchy. It's destroyed courtship. It's destroyed romance. There's also a mental health correlation. Heavy pornography use in Gen Z is strongly correlated with high levels of anxiety, depression, and loneliness. So we can go on and on. It normalizes extreme acts. It encourages infidelity in marriage if these young men happen to be married. And it kills motivation, just like drugs. It literally, when men spill their seed on a regular basis in a way that's not healthy, if it's not forging a relationship with your wife, you're depleting yourself of your energy. You're depleting yourself of your life source. It reminds me of the story of Samson. Delilah was constantly trying to steal Samson's strength, and it was given to him by God. And I feel like that is a story that should guide men into protecting their energy and not just give it away over a digital screen or whatever the case may be.
Do you think that it's crazy that we're having this conversation in 2025 right now? Like, do you think that Nick Fuentes is having a conversation that is just been untouched for too long that people don't want to talk about? Do you think Nick Fuentes is jumping out and putting himself out there in a way that is has not been seen in the modern history of this country?
I think so, because I think conservatives, and I know this is going to be controversial, I think they're a lot like the left. They only follow authorized talking points. And I think the Israel issue is indicative of that. It was an unwritten rule that you don't talk about Israel, and conservatives have obeyed that rule for so long. Nick Fuentes is breaking that rule. And I think it's, to Jason's question, the same has been true with pornography. It's an issue that wasn't allowed to be discussed, even though it was so badly needed. But for whatever reason, conservatives weren't authorized to speak on conserving our values, one of them being the family and sexual purity and all of that. So yes, Nick is bringing up a topic at probably a little too late, but better late than never. And he's explaining it in terms that I think everyone would agree with. I don't think anybody reading Nick Fuentes' position and opinion on the dangers of pornography would any conservative find themselves in disagreement with that. I think if they do, they're not conservative.
I know there's a movie about this. I looked it up. It's what is it? Joseph Gordon-Levitt in 2013. He made that movie Don John.
Okay.
And I remember kind of watching, and I don't remember all the things about it, but it was kind of touching on this stuff of like these unrealistic expectations, because he starts dating a lady and she's like, this isn't real life. That's porno, because he just watched porno all the time or something. So there was some touch on this stuff back when there is a movie that kind of touches on it. So, and that's 2013. I mean, that's 12 years ago.
Yeah.
That's insane. So, I mean, it does make some, I get it, unrealistic things. And courting women, dude, it used to be a whole thing. Bring flowers. Hey, I'm curious about you. I got interest in you. I like what it seems like you're about. I want to learn more about you. There was more of an aspect of kind of pursuing women. That's not really the commonality now, because it'll make you seem like you're thirsty, desperate, or something if you kind of pursue women nowadays. Because I know with the dating world nowadays, like I'm involved in, I don't chase crap. I just don't. It's like, all right, who's next to kind of chit chat and see if it's worth having curiosity or interest in, you know?
Well, yeah, this pornography in the culture, I think, is the perfect storm, because it's taught women that your value and worth is found in your sexual attractiveness.
There's also like other things I think that piggyback off this. A lot of dating apps and weird picture filters on Instagram crackers and Snapper chatters and the face pages and all this weird stuff, you know, all this social media, this stuff that we're supposed to be more connected but makes us more disconnected, if you ask me. More fantasy, weird, obscure things that ain't reality, you know. That's because I mean nowadays you don't have to go be fit or in shape, even man or woman, regardless of it. You can just filter a picture and do some lighting, and it's a superficial, fake, artificial version of you that's like the most optimal looking or most attractive looking, and you're like, wow, you didn't have to be healthy or in kind of physical healthy shape or anything like that anymore. It's all filters and fallacies.
Yeah, and the dating apps, I think, have commoditized people. It's reduced people to like scannable Amazon products where you just swipe to the left.
Statistics are just like a measure where it's like, oh, I like potato chips and I'm 5'10" and you know, and I'm this weight and I look like this and I like baseball. You know, it's all like the equivalent of like a sports card nowadays as an individual for like, oh, that's all there is to you. Bam.
Yeah.
There's another clip, and this one's very interesting because we've asked this question on this show so many times, which is how did we get to the point where we're at with the LGBTQ plus movement, and how did we get here? And Nick has what he believes the answer to this question is, and so let's roll this clip.
It seems like it's making a lot of people gay too.
Yeah, and trans.
You think that's true?
100%.
What is that?
I think that the novelty is a huge part of that. I think that if you are somebody that uses pornography multiple times per day, which many people do.
Actually?
Oh, absolutely. Well, eventually you get bored
Yeah.
and you want to move on to something more extreme. And you're kind of, it operates, I think, similar to like a drug. You kind of have the same kind of resistance to it that you would to a drug, or a tolerance for it. And you're always chasing that initial feeling the first time you used it or the first time you saw a certain thing. And I think eventually you just chase more taboo, more transgressive.
Now, I don't believe that this is the only reason why we're seeing an uptick in the LGBTQ movement. However, I don't think he's wrong. I think that this is definitely part of where culture is headed, was this idea that like things have to be new and fresh all the time.
Yeah. It's like pornography is a drug. There's a organization that's on the front lines of raising awareness of this porn crisis that the world is under right now, and it's called the new drug. And I quoted a study of a analysis of brain matter, and it shows in a similar fashion to drug use. It eats up the brain from a physical standpoint.
You know, South Park touched on this. There's an episode called Overlogging with Randy logging onto the internet, and like he's talking about crazy stuff. I don't know. South Park predicting the future once again. It's always South Park or The Simpsons.
Yeah.
But they were like doing a thing, and he's like, oh, midgets with shopping carts and only one arm and like craziness. And you're like, what? And he's looking up porn and checking the next thing, and he's like, I need the next great thing. Oh, I'm all used to this. And it was like a bunch of very, very, very disturbing type things he was listing off, but it was just getting crazier and crazier, and he was chasing the next obscure porn logging, looking up interwebby thing. There's the South Park once again.
Yeah.
Predicting the future way ahead of time.
Yeah, I never thought about the connection between transgenderism and homosexuality and pornography and the uptick in all of these obscurities. And it makes sense if you follow the reasoning of drugs. When you use a drug, certain level of it doesn't just do enough. In the interview, Nick was telling Tucker about how a lot of his stoner friends in high school moved on to psychedelics and went past the alcohol because the weed and the alcohol just weren't doing it enough. And so similar to that, the pornography, like a drug, is doing the same thing. And it's crazy to think that, yeah, maybe, just maybe, not the entire reason, but part of the reason that we have all of these weirdness in society is because of pornography. It's crazy.
It's crazy. That South Park episode was, what does it say, 2008?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
Think about the internet in 2008 compared to the internet now.
We'll let Charlie Sheen be a forewarning to anyone who's thinking about looking at porn or continuing their porn habit. Charlie Sheen is dying right now. That's sad and crazy because he experimented with men. He was never a homosexual. As far as I could tell, he was probably the most heterosexual man on the planet with all the women he had been with. But I guess just maybe all those women and all of that
drugs
just wasn't
alcohols
enough. There was a new plateau for Charlie Sheen. And what did he famously say? It was one of those interviews. Get back to me later.
Yeah. I don't know.
It was
he said a lot of stuff, dude.
Yeah,
and he went kind of crazy for a while. I remember seeing some interviews where you're like, what is he talking about? What's going? Yeah. He said he was the Dragon Master or some crazy
dragon energy. Tiger blood.
Tiger blood. I don't know. It was just like, what is he talking about? That dude was talking about some craziness, and you could tell he was just twacked out of his dome, man.
Anytime I'm depressed, I pull up Charlie Sheen interviews. It makes me feel better about
Holy
life.
crap. Remember, though? Charlie Sheen used to be cool back in the day. What was that, like Platoon? And
yeah.
Then he did all the Hot Shots movies. He did, what was the baseball one?
Field of Dreams?
No, the whatever. He was the pitcher. And
No Crying in Baseball?
Glasses.
Oh, in 2011, he had a media meltdown for saying, I'm winning. I'm just winning. Remember that?
Yeah.
Winning.
Yeah, you're like, okay. He had a Tom Cruise moment. You know?
He claimed to have tiger blood, stating, I have tiger blood and Adonis DNA.
Oh, I don't even know what that means.
And then he says he's by winning. He's winning both at life and everything else.
Tiger blood. He was just like, what, like sucking the blood out of Mike Tyson's tigers or something? I have no idea.
I think we have gone a little off track. So I think we can safely call this the end of this.
South Park predicted the future on a lot of this, though.
So anyways, if you want more of this content, hit the subscribe button. We would love to have you. We release content every single week. Thank you, and God bless.
Nick Fuentes has tiger blood, ladies and gentlemen. Take care.
You want it better, be better.